right, pleased to be joined here on the Ray and Dregs Hockey Podcast by Henrik and Daniel Sedin, two of the newest members of the Hockey Hall of Fame. So, look, for each of you, and Henrik, we'll start with you. Aside from Monday's induction ceremony, I mean, what was the highlight of the weekend in Toronto?
For me, I think it was a game on Sunday, just to step on the ice again with all those guys that you played against, or there was a generation before you. So that was special for sure.
Daniel, what about you, Daniel?
Yeah, same thing. Also, I got a chance to meet Börje Salming for the first time actually on Friday. Just special, and to see how we got treated in Toronto with the fans and his former teammates, and it was special.
When, I think many of us were shocked and saddened to see, the condition that Börje is in. Describe to us how he's viewed in Sweden, because when he came here with Inga Hammarström, Hammarström was not the level of player, unfortunately, that Börje was, and the challenges Börje had to fight through were incredible. But there's a story that the people in Sweden didn't realize his importance until the 76 Canada Cup to the people in Canada. Like Börje was a legend here while he was playing. What was he like? What's he viewed like in Sweden?
And we weren't even born in 76, so
I know you guys were young, man.
And I think you're right. Even for us growing up, it was tough for us to understand how big it was. I mean, now you hear stories, you talk to some of his former teammates, and I mean, for Swedish players, he paved the way for us. I think he changed the view from hockey fans in Canada and even media in Canada. He changed the view on how Swedish and European players were looked at.
When you guys were growing up, who was your guy? Like was it an NHL player? Was it a Swedish player? Who did you want to be?
For us growing up, again, this is mid 90s, late 90s. They didn't show a lot of NHL games, so it was tough for us to have idols from over here. So we would look at our pro team in our hometown, Modo, and that's Marcus Naslund and Peter Forsberg. They came up at that time. Nick Sandström came up. There's a lot of NHL that then became NHL players that we got a chance to look at every game in our home rink, and that's so for us that was the goal, always the goal, to play for Modo.
So when you think of Marcus Naslund and then you get to play with him, like that must have, I didn't quite realize that was the age of it. Like that must have been amazing.
Yeah, surreal. I mean, it's if you look at it, we're from a small city with 30,000 people, not even, and we started playing on the same outdoor rink in a neighborhood, a small neighborhood in that city, and then we end up playing in Vancouver, 12-hour flight away, and on the same team for years, and that's it was tough to understand at the time, but it made our step to come over here made it easier, because we had a guy that's comes from the same little town. He's successful, so I think we we thought that we could be successful as well.
Both of you obviously very, very athletic growing up. Daniel, when did it become apparent? When did it become clear to you guys that, look, not only are we good hockey players, but there is a chance here that we're going to play professionally, if not in the National Hockey League? I mean, that had to have been part of the goal. But when did you know hockey was the sport that you and Henrik were going to focus on?
Yeah, it's funny because we played soccer and hockey growing up, and we played soccer, I think, until we were 15, right?
Yeah, 15, 16.
Yeah. And I mean, at age 16, I also played for the Swedish, for Modo in the Swedish Elite League. So it happened quickly there. You quit soccer and all of a sudden you're playing in the highest league in Sweden. So it's still you I don't know, you were just happy to be there, and you kind of learned every day. And we went back and forth that year between the junior team and the Swedish Elite League. And then the year after, we were full-time members of the team. So, and like Henrik said, so many good players were on that Modo team that later went over to the NHL, like those years after, and so we got a chance to learn from some really good players, first in Modo and then coming over to Vancouver.
It's funny, you guys, every once in a while I get reminded how old I am. And you guys said, Nick Sundstrom. I played with him with the Rangers. He was a rookie.
Yeah.
And I was like, Jesus.
You are old, Ray.
This is true. There's no way around that. Hey, when you got, I'm thinking like that year you're now going to be at the top of the draft. Like, you said it happened very fast. Did you know that was the range of where you were going to get drafted? Like now these kids know, I mean, they're scouted and there's scouting services that are public all over the place. They know where they're going. Did you guys have
Pretty much
any clue till halfway through the year, near the draft? When did you know?
We played that U17 tournament was it Camrose, Danny? Camrose, I think.
I think so.
That was the first time playing against Canadians and Americans over here on a smaller ice rink. And now you got a chance to match up against the top players in your age group. And we were successful in the tournament. So you kind of understood then that we had a chance to be maybe like a top 20 pick or something like that. But you never know. Like it's tough to... when you're from a small town and you're in Sweden, like it's you're matched up against other kids from your city. Like we hadn't been anywhere before the tournament, so it's tough to understand.
That's amazing because now, of course, the kids have they start at U17 and then they're in the World Juniors, and and everybody has a decent idea by the time the draft comes around, at least who the players are. So you guys get to where the draft is coming up. You guys are quiet and humble, and Brian Burke is not. And so, what was your first impression when you meet Berkey, who went on to tell everybody there's only one team leaving with the Sedins, and that's me?
Yeah, no, it's. I mean, we were brought up to respect like your older people, right? Yeah, even older teammates. Like you respect them, you listen to them, you're quiet, and then obviously Berkey is another step above that. Like he's GM of the Vancouver Canucks. Like so, we were very quiet and a lot of respect. I think deep, like when you get to know him, he's such a nice person. But obviously at the time, I think you're right. He demands a lot of respect.
When you come over, first off, I guess the first step was you guys felt you needed to stay at home, which a lot of players don't quite understand in their development. Like the players now, they always seem in a rush. Was that easy for you guys to say, nah, you know what, we should probably hang back, or did you feel pulled at all?
Yeah, it wasn't easy because you're right. We got pulled, not so much from Vancouver, but maybe our agents were like, well, maybe you should come over and see how, like, learn over here instead of staying back in Sweden. And so it wasn't an easy decision, but I think it was good for us because even when we came over the year after, we were not physically ready, and mentally, I think it was even tougher. So no, I'm happy we were strong.
You guys, so you start, Henrik, you mentioned in your speech that, at 23 years old, you guys weren't even sure what you were going to be really in the NHL. And of course you go on to these amazing careers. Like what was is there one thing that really changed the way you guys could perform, or was it a bunch of things?
Yeah, tough to say. I think it's a bunch of things for sure. I think we came in, like Danny said, we didn't play much early on. I think we played 13 minutes our first year, and then we went down to 11 minutes. And so if you really look at those numbers, I think we outperformed our ice time if you look at how much we played. But people, they don't see all those stats. They only see the amount of goals you have and the amount of assists. So, but I think going back to Sweden during the lockout 04 there, it gave us a full year of getting away, training more, getting stronger. And then when we came back, I think we felt way more confident. We were able to play the way we've always wanted to play, was cycling the puck. We created more chances off the rush, which we didn't do before the lockout. So there's a few things for sure.
You played with a number of players, of course, through your career, but Anson Carter and then, of course, Alex Burrows. And it seemed almost like a throwaway when they put Alex with you guys that, things weren't rolling along very smooth. And like, did you think that was going to be as good as it was? Because it just seemed like You guys just knew where, like he knew where to be to play with you guys. You guys always knew where to be to play with each other. But
It was always,
I remember when it happened, I was like, why? I wonder why they're trying Burrows. Like, I wonder,
it's funny because people always thought we needed a right-handed shot, big, physical, get in on the forecheck, protect us a little bit. But then Burr came along, and I still remember his first few games. Like a guy that wasn't the best skater, didn't maybe have the best shot, but right away you noticed that there was something there. Like he was smart, he was always in the right position, he was very like defensively very aware of things. So I think we felt right away that this could be a good fit, and the first few shifts together, you realize, okay, this is the guy. I think we can make this work, and he obviously was willing to adapt. That was his strength. I think he would adapt to any linemen he had, and he did it to perfection. So it was just neat to play with him.
Isn't it amazing? Like, and I'm sure you guys, you see it now as you work through the development with the kids on the Canucks. But coaches have all these great ideas, and they write all those lines on the whiteboard, and they all look really great together. And then sometimes they just don't work, and then almost by accident, this happens.
But you look back too, and there was other line mates that were thrown on our line for a game, 2 games, but we didn't score, so they would shuffle things. So I mean, I wonder what would have happened if we didn't score with Burrows for like 2 games or 3 games. Would they have changed again, and then they would never go back? Like it's those things that happens where he scores. They put us together third period in St. Louis, and he scores that period, and then the next game he scores. Right. So, about what would happen if he wouldn't have put those in?
Well, you might have ended up with Matthias Oland on your wing. You guys are almost out of guys by then.
Would have been fine too, probably.
Hey, okay, so I think people know how competitive you are. Maybe people didn't realize early in your career until, as your career rolled along. And now there's been lots of stories about how, you guys push each other all the time. So, I'm amused by you guys and the way you run up the gross grind. For people that are listening that don't know, how long is the grind? Because I'm not going up there. It's too steep and it's too far. How far is it?
About 2 kilometers.
Okay, so it's 2 kilometers straight up Grouse Mountain. If you had to go today, who's winning?
Well, we did it this summer development camp, and I came up first, but it's tough because the ending is a one man race, but someone's going to be first. But he was right behind.
So you got to get there first. The race is really to there.
Yes, yeah. I blocked them off.
Perfect. And where were the prospects? Way behind or what?
No, there were some good ones. Like it's and a lot of them had did it for the first time. So I think
that's what I mean. They would have never known, right? Yeah. Well, so okay. So when you run, I do know this. Your marathon times are pretty crazy. Like, do you still want to run marathons? Do you still, or are you past that?
I think running has always been such a great workout for us. I really enjoy the quiet time. You can listen to podcasts or listen to music or just think about things. And I think it's just you put your shoes on and you go out. And I think it's just the simplicity of running is what intrigues me. So I think we've done a few marathons. I think I probably want to do a few more.
And when you when you run the marathons, are you racing each other or are you just racing the clock?
What do you think?
I think you're racing each other.
Of course.
Okay, what about like what other tennis anymore? You guys?
Yeah, tennis. We played at the camp again. Danny's way better at tennis. Play golf too a little bit. Funny thing in golf that we're both kind of shooting the same every time, but I always win. I think I lost like once in my whole life in like 200 games. So there's something mental there.
Oh, he's into your kitchen. You can't let that. You got to start working on this, Daniel.
I know.
You cannot let this happen. Every player is different, but what's a skill you see with younger players and you go pretty much across the board, that's something they can work on? Is it quickness? Is it strength or something you can help them with?
I think it's using their teammates. I think that's been one of the things that we look at all the times is players that are able to use their line mates or D partners, because I think a lot of kids come up now and they've been through to all the skills camps. They got all the individual skills in the world, something that we cannot teach them because we were not very good at that. But just to where do they put the pucks in areas where it's going to help you offensively and defensively and reading off each other, and that's I think what we enjoy the most is to look at games and look at that and there's some guys that I really like watching, and there's other guys that I think that's something they really need to work on. So skill wise, and I think that's across the world. I think that's the same for everyone. Like kids today, that they don't get brought up getting taught how to play as a line. They get taught how to play as an individual.
That's if I were to compare one way, like that's one thing Canadian hockey has been really slow to get to. Whereas I always felt like, in particular, covering the international tournaments and seeing players that I hadn't seen before, the Swedes and the Finns always seemed to be along that line. Like the collective was better than the individual. Is that the way kind of like you guys were taught? Because it sure looks like it watching the national teams.
I think that's very true. I think I don't know why that is, to be honest with you, but I think in the national team, I think the Canadians and maybe the Russians were always a step ahead of us, like Swedes and Finns, and I think we really had to rely on the team to be good, and I think everyone bought into that. So I don't know if that's tough to say, Henrik, but were we brought up team first, kind of, or like why
I think it's the drills we did when we grew up. Everything was based on your line and your like 3-on-2s below the hash marks. So work the puck below the hash marks. So you had to use your line mates to create chances. I think maybe less over here. Maybe it's more individual skill here. You come down the wing and you try to get shots on the net and people driving the net and. So I think it's the drills we did going up.
Do you have outside of the Canucks? We'll take that out of it. Do you have a favorite player to watch in the NHL right now? Is it an obvious one? Is it somebody a little different? I mean, taking the Canucks out of it, if you're just watching as a fan.
Let's take someone that no one else says. I like Barkov in Florida. Like he. Yeah. And even their young centerman Landell, really good as well. Like I look more at their smartness than their skill. I mean, it's easy to say McDavid because he's the best player on the planet by far.
Right.
But I would take those two.
Daniel?
Yeah, I mean, he's. I think Barkov is really so many good young players these days. Like, it's unbelievable. It feels like every team has one, and it's tough to pick one. Like, I love Matthews, how he plays, McDavid, but I'm with Henrik. I more look at how they play the game and how they manage the puck and all those things, all the little plays they make. So Barkov is probably one.
Guess who when we played, who was a line that we would love to play with? Can you guess that? If you take Canucks out of it.
A liney you would want to play with? Ooh.
During our career. He was a righty.
Well, somebody that didn't want the puck very much and just wanted to shoot it.
No, he had the puck.
Yager.
No.
This is impossible. They can guess for years. They're not gonna...
Justin Williams.
Really? Because he was so clever.
Yes.
Justin Williams was... I remember as he got older, it seemed like people appreciated him more as he got older. Like when he went through Carolina to LA, everybody was like, "Oh man, this guy is so smart." And then he won Stanley Cups and Mr. Game 7. I would no chance I would have got that. So we're going to let these guys go. It's a beautiful day in Vancouver. Daniel and Henrik, thanks for your time and congratulations on an amazing career and your rightful place in the Hall of Fame. I will say this, though. It did suck yesterday. I went to the soccer field. Daniel's there, Henrik's there, Cammie's there, and I'm there. And I'm like the guy standing outside the fence.
You're just a guy.
I'm just a guy that walked up. Congratulations, guys, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you so much.